Well, look at this. Joe Biden promises fewer fires, floods, and hurricanes if he wins in November. I'm Grid 7, and this article is brought by PJ Media. They are a right-wing group, so be warned, there is a right-wing spin on this, but the overall message is not good, really, here for Biden. On Monday, Democratic nominee Joe Biden, when was this done? It was last week, so. President wins re-election in November. America will witness more hellish events like fires in the West, flooding in the Mideast, and hurricanes on the East Coast. He effectively promised that if he wins, America will suffer, America will suffer from fewer fires, fewer floods, and fewer hurricanes. When were we able to control the weather on a day-to-day basis? I mean, it does kind of go through now. Biden exonerated Trump for ignoring the facts and denying reality as he focused his remarks on the wildfires ravaging California, Oregon, and Washington state. Fires that really bad management by California and them. No, it was known after the Yellowstone fires that if you don't control burn and all that, get rid of the underbrush, it will get worse. And California and all that decided we don't need to do that, so they didn't do that, and they're living with the results now. Biden goes on and goes, if you give a climate arsonist 4 more years in the White House, why would anyone be surprised if we have more of America ablaze? If you give a climate denier 4 more years in the White House, why would anyone be surprised when more America is underwater? Donald Trump's climate denial may not have caused these fires and record floods and record hurricanes, but if he gets a second term, these hellish events will continue to become more common, more devastating, and more deadly, the Democrat insisted. This actually is something that the cult of climate change has been spewing for over 10 years now. Each year is going to be worse. Each year is going to be worse. It's just been a broken record for him. Meanwhile, Donald Trump warns that integration is threatening our suburbs, said, referring to Biden's plan to federalize local zoning, which would pose a serious threat in the neighborhoods in the name of racial integration. It's ridiculous, but you know what is actually threatening our suburbs? Wildfires are burning the suburbs in the West. Floods are wiping out suburban neighborhoods in the Midwest. Hurricanes are imperiling suburban life along our coast. If we have 4 more years of Trump's climate denial, how many suburbs will be burned by wildfires? How many suburbs will have been flooded out? How many suburbs will have been blown away in superstorms? I'm sorry, nothing Biden is going to do will change that in the next 4 years. Anyone who has studied environmental science knows this type of stuff. It takes years to do. It's not something that you flip a switch and it's done. But that seems to be what they're saying. This is where it kind of goes right wing, but we'll see. Joe Biden's argument boils down to the idea that burning fossil fuels is the key cause behind all worsening of extreme weather events. Other contributing factors be damned. And those that disagree are deniers of science. Never mind the fact that claims of climate change consensus are misleading and overblown, or the fact that climate alarmist predictions have been proven wrong time and time again for 50 years. I've been in it for about 40 years, 30, 40, and I can say, yeah, that's why I now question the cult of climate change. I mean, I see a faucet running, it angers me because it's a waste of water. No, I don't like that. No. I am for a lot of environmental stuff, but you gotta question it because they have been. I think I started back when they were doing, they were talking about it was going to be snowball Earth type thing. So it's changed for me. Biden's talking about the devastating wildfires in the West, damage in the past 2 years has reached 50 billion in California alone. 5 million acres have burned across 10 states. How many of those acres are because of arsonists, accidental fires, stuff that really has nothing to do with climate change, really? And no, the wildfires are indeed great, but climate change isn't the real story. When it comes to wetland fire mitigation in particular, I learned the truth from my father, who has been a volunteer fireman for more than 30 years. I grew up in the foothills of dry Colorado, where the grass is not green but brown. My father sent me and my brother out to rake up dry leaves, pine leaves, and other materials we termed duff. Matter from the forest floor that would go up in flames upon contact with a smaller spark. And that's what California and all them aren't doing. My father and later my brother and I would go out with a chainsaw to trim the lower hanging pine branches and weed whackers to take care of the tall grass. For my Eagle Scout project, I led a team of men and boys to clear out the forest floor and trim the low-hanging branches near a large propane tank in order to prevent potential fires from spreading in the mountain to burn the nearby houses, or the houses nearby. Don't really have dyslexia, but that seemed like it right there. Clearing the forest floor is thankless work, and it should be done. And it's far more efficient to set a small, controlled fire and let nature do the job for you. Here where I am in Texas, we have controlled burns all the time. I see it on the Facebook pages and stuff like that, and I smell it. I have a friend who works in the sheriff's department. They get calls every time about people smelling smoke. But I'd rather they do that than have what we have in California. President Trump has encouraged California to use proper forest management to combat the wildfires. He knows that the fires are starting again in California. I said, you got to clean your floors, you got to clean your forests. There are many, many years of leaves and broken trees, and they're like so flammable, you touch them and it goes up. And that was seen in Yellowstone, but California decided not to do it. And now we have them on fire. And no, I do think Trump is right when he said it. I'm not sure he's 100% right, but he is right. California has experienced mega droughts lasting as long as 220 years over the past 1,100 years. A period before the advent of SUVs and fossil fuels. California goes through drought just like anybody. We tend to think that they're a wet state. They're not really. And really, poor forest management is the true culprit. But according to Democrats, it's climate change, and he can change it just by getting elected. Same goes with hurricanes and floods and stuff like that. No, a lot of the areas that are flooding had floods before. You go back, in fact, you look on. New Jersey showed that a major hurricane struck New York in the area between that area long before the industrial engine. I don't get where they're coming from when they say that climate change is the only reason for this stuff. Well, I do. No, they're pushing an agenda, a regulation, and they're ignoring history and science to do it. Yeah, that's my 2 cents. I could ramble on and on about this, but I'll let it go from there. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you next video.